Hey everybody, it's Stevie J from Glove Up or Shut Up, and before we get to Bellator 107 tonight with the debut of Rampage Jackson in Bellator, here's our preview of UFC 167 main evented tomorrow night by George St-Pierre versus Johny Hendricks.
But yeah, let's look at once those flyweight fighters once again for the main card, Stevie.
Tim Elliott and Ali Bagatinov.
What do you expect in that fight?
Well, Bagatinov is kind of on a roll lately because he got the TKO over Marcos Vinicius at the Teixeira versus Bader fight night. So he's 11-2 overall and looking to keep that momentum going and hopefully become one of the upper ranked flyweights because, there's only like 15 or 16 of them overall in UFC. So you get on a roll and get things going. It wouldn't be hard to break into that top 10, but he's got to go against Tim Elliott, who is coming off 2 straight decisions, a unanimous win over Jared Papazian and one over Louis Godno. And I guess the thing is, I think of Bagatinov as more of a finisher, although in his past, there has been some Elliott fights where he's gotten knockouts or submissions, but he hasn't shown that in UFC. So will he show it here? I'm not sure. I would favor Bagatinov right now.
I'm just gonna say Elliot, just to be different.
Okay, you want to be contrarian, do that. Go for it.
All right, now Josh Koscheck and Tyron Woodley. This fight could be really good if it's a 3-round slobber knocker of a fight. But it might surprise you. I'm actually going with Koscheck in this one.
Nah, I think that T Wood is more of a finisher than Koscheck, and I think Koscheck is one of those guys who got old quick.
Yeah, but the problem with Koscheck, he's been around forever since the first season of The Ultimate Fighter. He is 35 years old, but he's one of those fighters where he's lost 2 in a row and back up against the wall. This is something where he's fought top-tier competition, and I think in his head, he's thinking that if he loses this fight, he could be done.
Yeah, well, I kind of said the same thing before he fought Robbie Lawler, and Lawler finished him, so, to be honest, I just don't see what Koscheck has left at this point.
Do you think he's reduced to a gatekeeper role if he loses tonight, or this weekend?
I think he's going to become what Paulo Thiago became, is that a guy that guys who don't have a name beat to get a name.
Well, the only 2 blemishes on T. Wood's record is a split decision loss to Jake Shields, which very controversial. That was the cursed Winnipeg card.
Mm-hmm.
And the other loss was a knockout by Nate Marquardt when he lost the vacant. It was
they fought for the vacant Strikeforce title.
Yeah, so he didn't lose it. But that guy Vacant, man, he holds all the belts at some one point, doesn't he?
Yeah, I guess so.
Jeez. I don't know. I just think Koscheck here, he's nothing more dangerous than a fighter with 2 losses. He'll throw everything but the kitchen sink at this guy, so I'm picking Koscheck.
I just don't see it. I'm sticking with my guns on T. Wood. He's younger, he's hungrier, he's probably just as good a wrestler as Koscheck when it comes right down to it on brass tacks, so I think he can manhandle him.
Alright, well, the next fight, the rest of this card is just stacked. It's a great card. Mm-hmm. You got Rory MacDonald against Robbie Lawler. The aforementioned Robbie Lawler.
Yeah, and this is the proving fight for Lawler because you get a couple of knockouts, they could be flukes, but if he can go in there and beat MacDonald, then it's legit.
But what do you do with MacDonald if he wins?
Well, you move him back up into the upper ranks and let him fight his way to a title shot, because if he beats Robbie Lawler, who vaulted into the ranks after his last knockout, then he's probably got a good case to say, hey, look at all these guys I beat in the top 10, I'm ready to, give me Condit, give me somebody.
What's he ranked right now?
Let's see, UFC.com/rankings. You too can play along at home and look up these rankings as you hear us talking about them.
Last time MacDonald fought in Canada, he beat Nate Diaz.
Yep. It looks like the welterweight rankings are being covered up by an ad. Okay, let's get rid of the ad. And we've got MacDonald 3, Ellenberger 4, Maia 5, Campman 6, Shield 7, Brown 8, Diaz 9, and Lawler 10.
Lawler's 10.
Yeah, he's just on that bubble right now, so if MacDonald beats him, I'd say A, it knocks Lawler out of the top 10, and B, it means that he gets either Condit or perhaps the loser of GSP Hendricks, because he'll be right there.
If only Condit and MacDonald have fought in the past, Stevie.
Yeah, if only. What do you think about that? Isn't that an interesting proposition? What did we see in that last one? Oh, MacDonald tooled him for almost 3 rounds and then lost.
Yeah, that was a fight, yeah.
That was an epic battle. And to see them do it again, that would be a lot of fun.
And you put number 1 contendership in front of that fight? Oof.
Exactly. But
winner gets a title shot and have GSP sitting cage side? That would be awesome.
But you're assuming a lot. First, we got to figure out who the champion is after this card is over.
Fair enough. Semi-main event, and this one is the battle of the talkers, in my opinion. Rashad Evans fights Chael Sonnen.
Gigi from FightGameBlog.com asked me to break this down for his UFC 167 preview, and I went through all the numbers here, and it's really tough because they have about the exact same percentage in everything. Like, for example, knockouts. Like, just under 25% of Chael's wins are by knockout, and just over 25% of Rashad's wins are by knockout. And they both had the collegiate wrestling, and Sonnen was a little more accomplished on the world stage, but Rashad Evans is a little more accomplished in the UFC when it comes to winning titles. So they're virtually even on paper. The one place I will give it to Chael Sonnen is that I think his takedown defense is a little bit better than Rashad's. So on paper, I've got Chael Sonnen winning because they're almost statistically even, but I think Chael can edge it out.
See, that's the problem with this fight. I mean, I can make a case for both fighters winning here. It's really tough for me to pick a fighter here. I think this will go 3 rounds. I think it'll be 29-28.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got it for Rashad Evans.
It's going to be close either way. Like I said, they are almost statistically dead even on paper when you look at their accomplishments and you look at their skill sets. But I've just got this feeling right now that Chael is going to find a way to just block the takedowns and get them himself because, as you know very well from watching the Anderson Silva fights, few people are better at getting takedowns than Chael Sonnen.
That's true, but
with the possible exception of the main eventer, George St-Pierre.
Now, the only exception is with Chael Sonnen is that, like, he'll always have a job at the UFC.
That's true, but I don't think he looks at it that way. This is not Chael Sonnen resting on his laurels because he has a job in the announce booth, or a job as a commentator, or a job being a colorful character for UFC.
So I disagree because that takes away some of the pressure of winning the fight.
I don't think so. I think Chael puts all the pressure on himself. I mean, you saw the way he performed in that Shogun Rua fight. He's not slacking off just because he's got a cushy job.
All right. Well, I'm picking Rashad. You're picking Chael, and that leaves us with one fight, and that's George St-Pierre defending his title against Johny Hendricks, the number 1 contender. And Hendricks is a great fighter. I mean,
and he's got that one-punch knockout power. You can't deny that.
He's probably the toughest test GSP's ever had. I'll say that. But, I still believe in George. I still believe that he game plans the hell out of his fights, and I think he's got a winning game plan here for Johny Hendricks.
I can't disagree with you. As a matter of fact, we've heard this before. Every time somebody has come along with a vaunted skill set, Nick Diaz, toughest opponent GSP ever faced, and he was well known for his dangerous jiu-jitsu, and GSP found a way to overcome that. And Jake Shields, same story, toughest guy GSP had never fought. He'd been a champion in Strikeforce for all those years, and GSP found a way to deal with that. Every time the toughest guy ever comes along, GSP finds a way to handle him for 4 out of 5, if not 5 out of 5 rounds. So I don't see that story changing unless he gets that lucky Matt Serra punch. And we know that Johny Hendricks has a bigger punch than Matt Serra does, but GSP is going to know how to avoid it.
Yeah, I think it's a case of GSP's speed versus Johny Hendricks' power, so.
And again, as I said about Chael Sonnen, the only person with better wrestling than him is probably GSP, which you really have to credit GSP for, given he didn't start out as a wrestler. but he picked it up so damn fast as a fighter that he quickly became the best takedown artist in the game. For somebody who never even wrestled in high school or college, he is just a beast at wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, he's very talented, and, you know, I really think that one day Hendricks will be the champion at welterweight. It just won't be on this weekend.
The only place he might beat him is on the scale if GSP doesn't make weight. Other than that, that's his only chance.
Jeez. Well, I don't know. I mean, this fight could go 8 ways from Sunday. And I wish I wasn't so vague on that, but I mean, there's so many different scenarios we could have for this for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And man, whatever the result is going to be, it's going to be a very entertaining fight. And the only thing I worry about with this fight is that, you know, if it goes the way I think it will, we'll probably have a rematch before we see another contender fight for the title. Whether that's good or bad, I don't know.
I don't think you can really do that with as stacked as the upper portion of that weight division is. You got to give those guys like Condit and MacDonald a chance. I mean, I know that Condit's had a chance before, but he's earned his way back to another one. Or if MacDonald beats him, he's earned his way to a shot. So I know MacDonald and GSP don't necessarily want to fight each other either, but if it happens, it happens. Although, you would think about it, you know how they talked about doing Belfort and Silva at like a soccer stadium in Brazil with 100,000 people? Imagine if you did MacDonald and GSP. You could fill the Air Canada Center easily with that fight.
A lot of people were complaining that this fight, you know, like GSP only fights in Canada, so I expect to see a lot of Canadian flags in the crowd in Las Vegas for this one.
Well, I've seen GSP fight in Vegas, and I can tell you for a fact they turn out in droves, because I didn't even know you at the time, and there were plenty of Canadians there.
Yeah.